Good morning, everybody. How are you all doing? Good morning. I hope you all are doing well. I truly, truly do. I hope you all are doing well. Okay, so I posted the link in the chat so that way you guys can click it. Feel free to click the link. So, here for my review, episode 2 of book 3 of Power, which is Raising Kanan, season 3. And yes, episode 2. Okay, so you can also do open chat. I'm just going to let it go for a few minutes. What am I going to talk about, guys? I am feeling better than I was this morning, for sure. Well, earlier this morning. So yeah, I don't know. But now I'm a little bit tired, so forgive me. Yes, if I sound tired. But I want to get through this because I don't like to have the videos up there and then I don't do them, I'd rather have just not created anything at all. And I don't want to keep you guys waiting for too long for that. I'd rather just delete it. But so, episode 2, right? That's what I'm here for. And I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I guess I'll tell you why while I get into it. But I just have a lot of mixed feelings about it. I still feel like he's gonna get caught. Detective Dad, right? As Alex will call him. I still feel like he's gonna get caught. This episode is so Detective Shannon or Detective Burke, right? His ex-partner who's now deceased, right? His deceased ex-partner. Her girlfriend is her ex-girlfriend or whatever, because they were broken up before at the time of her death. So at least that's what she told Detective Howard anyway in the last episode. So regardless of what, she's been, trying to tell people something. Like she tried to tell her father, right, Detective Shannon's dad, something, and then she tried to tell her boss, the detective's boss about it, which was probably, well, what I'm thinking she has to tell them is that, she had went to go meet up with Detective Dad, aka Detective Howard or whatever, right? I'm thinking that's exactly what she has to tell everybody, but they refuse to listen to this episode, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Okay, so far for the opening scene, right? It's Neek feeding Rock some butter pecan ice cream, right? She's sitting on a table, he's sitting in a chair, he's feeding it to her, whatever. And he starts talking to her, whatever. He's like, well, he mentions the butter pecan ice cream. Anyway, that's not really important at all. What was kind of crazy, he's like, oh, well, we've been doing this for 2 weeks. He's like, when you gonna let me, he basically trying to just be there, whatever. She's like, no, only people that's gonna be here in this house is mine and my sons, like that or whatever. And then the next thing you know, some guys come in, the mob guys, they come in and they kidnap the both of them. Like they got the guns drawn or whatever. They surrounded them while they're in the kitchen or whatever. And they put the little black like pillowcases, bags, whatever over their heads and stuff. And, they kidnap him. Next scene is Marvin and Lou. They in the club. Lou is drunk. Marvin is just watching, he's watching, looking around and stuff like that. Watching people, watching them, things like that. Then it's back to Rock and Neek. And they are in a back of the van. One moment. So they're in the back of the van and they get let out. So it's really fast or whatever. So they get let out the van, and next thing you know, they got Rock on the floor and all that stuff. And homeboy comes out and he starts talking or whatever to them, and he wants to know who Neek is. Starts making fun of his name and shit like that or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, what's the name gets punched in the shit, and Neek gets punched by who they call Big Fish, right? That's his name. By one of his bodyguards or whatever. And I thought it was funny when what's the name thought of a name for him. He called him Little Linguini. I don't think the name itself is funny, but I just thought like you gotta watch, you gotta see it. Like they were like pulling him back, taking him somewhere else or whatever. His mouth is all bloody and all that other shit. And then he was like, he thought of a name. I just thought it was funny to see all that together the way it happened. Like you gotta watch that part in order for it to be funny. Other than that, it wasn't really funny. The name, but it made sense. But you had to see it. Like that shit was funny because the acting, with it is what I'm saying. Like it was funny. So anyway, it clicks back to Lou, and he's going off on a waiter at the bar because not a waiter at the bar. On a waiter who's bringing the drinks or whatever, more drinks or whatever, because Lou has these girls that up on him and all this other stuff. He's wilding, right? And so he knocks over, the thing. But then Lou starts going crazy, trying to go crazy on the waiter, and Marvin's just like, chill, blah, blah, blah. So he pays the waiter, waiter goes, but then Marvin is like, he asked him if he had a strap on him. He's like, nah, I told you I'm not with that stuff no more or whatever, right? So Marvin, he puts on his coat, whatever, and then he's like I said, he was watching and people watching him. So they were like these two guys with ties on, right, watching him. I'm thinking they either feds or something, whatever. But anyway, so he goes to the bathroom. Next thing you know, these guys follow him or whatever into the bathroom and shit. The next thing you know, they asking him if he got drugs, all this other shit, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, he's like, oh, he finally gives these guys his paging number or whatever, right? And then he was like, oh, if you need it or whatever in the future, just page me. So then the guy asked again, so you do sell drugs? And he's like, yeah, I sell drugs. Like, whatever. I just thought, yeah, he shouldn't have said that. But anyway, whatever. So then it comes back to the Big Fish and Rock, right? So she's telling him that she's done with it and all the other stuff. But he's telling her like, oh yeah, he's showing her there in front of this huge incinerator or whatever, right? And he's telling her that, well, she told him that, well, she already told him in the beginning that she was done, but she's telling him or whatever. She's done. She don't want nothing to do with it. He was like, nah, you're going to kill Sal for me, because if you don't, then I'm going to kill everybody I'm going to kill everybody in your crew, you and everybody in your crew, and blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, and then he said, not only that, I'll get Sal in on it too. But basically all the families want Sal going, but it's against their policies or whatever in the mob for them to kill a maid boss or whatever the hell shit he was saying. So she basically had to do it. So she's like, all right, she's going to do it. But then she's done. They even, they square, and all of that stuff, right? So that's that. And yeah, so she agrees to do it or whatever. Okay, so then he starts telling her like where to find him and all that other shit or whatever. Okay, next thing you know, because I already told you the guys followed him into the bathroom or whatever. Because they kept cutting back and forth. Anyway, next thing you know, Jude is watching like Detective Howard and all these other people. They're walking in to the funeral of his late partner or whatever, right? Late ex-partner, whatever. And she's watching from a distance. Then it goes up to then it cuts to Kanan, and he's watching all these guys running errands for this new guy that just moved in Juke's building or whatever, right? I mean, the Famous's building. Then it cuts to Detective Dad again, Detective Howard. He's giving a speech at Detective Shannon's funeral. Then what they did was they cut to Rock telling Marvin what happened and what needs to be done and all that other stuff or whatever. He lets her know there was a little bit of the stash left, blah 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 blah. She said he could have it, plus, and she don't want none of it, no money or none of that. He could keep it all, especially after doing this job and all that, whatever. So then, after we pass, next thing you know, the detective Howard was talking to his boss, and he's telling him he's really trying to close this case. They already got at least 3 what's the names against her. He wants to close as soon as possible, and he don't want anything else coming out about her and all that other stuff. It cuts to Juke. She's at the recruiter's office. She's trying to leave Queens, she says, and all that other stuff. Then it shows Detective Shannon's ex-girlfriend. She's trying to talk to her dad right outside of the repass or whatever. He doesn't want to hear it. And what's the name? Seen her. So Detective Howard peeped it, right? So next thing you know, the guy, right, the guy that would have the guys running errands for him and stuff. They're outside Famous's building, and he sees them, and he asks them if they want a job or whatever. Kanan starts asking questions to get the guy's name. He asking all these about the pricing, what it is, what they're doing, whatever, all that other shit. He says no. Next thing you know, the next scene is the feds. They show up at Sal's house, and they tell Sal like, yo, we have it on good authority that they're trying to kill you and this and this and that. The families, they're coming for you, and they're gonna kill you real soon. But if you turn fed, like if you snitch on them, give us something or whatever, we'll protect you, X, Y, and Z. He's like, nah, get out of my house, all that good stuff. Okay, so they leave. Then it's Marvin, right? He's at home, and Duke's ex-girlfriend that had passed away or whatever, her dad is there talking to Marvin. And he was there because he wanted to let her know about some audition coming up for a girl group. And, he was thinking about her because his daughter thought the world of her voice and X, Y, and Z and all that stuff. Juke tells him, like, nah, she's not singing anymore. Marvin is like, what? He's shocked because he didn't know. She was thinking like that or whatever. He tells her she should try out. She's like, nah, forget it or whatever. And the next thing you know, okay, so now Nick is home. His baby mom is talking to him again. She's like, look, I don't feel safe with him here, and neither does our son. Last night, son went downstairs to get something or whatever. out of the kitchen, and Ronnie, which is Nick's brother, he was just sitting on the couch staring at the TV. And he's like, okay. And he always used to do that, even before he got locked up. He said, yeah, but the TV was off. I mean, she said, yeah, but the TV was off, like, or whatever. Anyway, he's like, he tells her again, the same thing he's been telling her. He's like, okay, well, he's about to leave soon. He's not going to be here for long. Okay, now the next scene is Kanan walks out of the building, and his mom is there outside with a brand new car for him, and they go for a test drive. Next scene, the Detective Howard is at the office. He's talking to his boss. Then he's excused. Everybody's talking about a task force, and he feels like he's being left out. He's suspicious of all the other stuff that's going around in the office, whatever. So back to Kanan and his mom. Kanan pulls over. He asks about Scrap, and she's still lying. So he gets out. He's like, nah, he don't want the car. If he wants a car, that he'll buy one for himself, and all that other shit. Because he's thinking, okay, maybe she's going to come clean. Maybe she's going to start telling the truth. So he's just holding out for her to just start telling the truth, basically. So far, she hasn't done that. So, whatever. Okay, so then Neek goes and he visits Big Fish or whatever at his fish store where he's selling all the fish or whatever, the aquarium for the fish, whatever. He's selling the fish, and they're talking or whatever, and he winds up asking for an introduction to the rest of the family. He's like, because at the end of the day, Big Fish tells him, he's like, look, I can say yeah, but it's not just me. Like, everybody else has to agree or whatever. So that's all. Then it's back to Famous and Kanan, right? And they're out on the stoop. And next thing you know, his dad, which Detective Howard, drives by. He's just like creeping real slow. He just drives by. I don't know what that's about, but that's what happened. Okay, next thing you know, that there's a scene. Sal is talking to his wife, about the baby's christening, their grandson christening and all that stuff. Then it cuts back to Marvin, and he's outside a building, and he's ringing all the buzzers or whatever, right? Come to find out it's Lou, his brother's building or whatever. So he knocks on the door. Lou finally comes, and then he asks him for help. Lou's like, nope. He said no because it has something to do with Rock. So he's like, nope. And then he closes the door, locks it. So Marvin just leaves or whatever. Then Rock goes and meets her Spanish connect at the restaurant, as always, and she tells him that she's out the game. The girl doesn't believe her, but the guy, he tells her straight up, he's like, look, the door's always open if you want to come back or whatever. Okay, so next thing you know, Nika and his brother Ronnie, they going in the club. At first, Ronnie doesn't get let in because of how he's dressed and all that other stuff. He comes back out. He gets him to let him in. He's like, he's with me, blah, blah, blah. So the brother is pissed off. He doesn't like the bounces, snide remarks, comments, or whatever. And that's just that. But he keeps it moving. Next scene, Marvin is outside, and he has to go, and he steals a mail truck, right? Steals a mail truck, and then it's Nick and his brother in the club. Nick sends a few girls over to his brother Ronnie and all that, and he pushes them away, and he ain't trying to hear nothing Nick is talking about. He sees the bouncer, and he's just like grilling him, like, like he really has beef, like with this man or whatever. Next scene, Kanan is asking Paul to go into business for him. He wants him to sell his weed, use his workers and everything. and all that good stuff. Paul says he'll think about it and all that. Next scene, Lou has a knock at his door. He opens the door and it's his niece, Juke, right? And he apologizes about her mom. Then he apologizes for stealing her song and all that other stuff. Juke has brought along with her, some albums and all of that stuff. And she's talking about she has an audition coming up and all that other stuff. She wants his help. She wants him to help her get ready and everything like that. So he's all for it. And it just seems like this is what he needed. You know what I'm saying? Like this right here was what he needed. Some kind of forgiveness. And he needed his music because we all know, he loves music as well and things like that or whatever. And it's his niece, his family, so it seems like, this may be really good for him. Maybe he'll start putting the bottle down. Who knows? But we can only hope. So it picks up his spirits. He's hyped for it and stuff like that. So that's that. And after that, it's Detective Shannon's ex-girlfriend talking to her boss. Like I mentioned earlier, he's not trying to hear it. He tells her to let her rest in peace and all that good stuff, right? And of course she's upset or whatever. Next thing you know, they're in front of famous building again, and Kanan is walking past Paul or whatever, and his group standing outside to see what's up. He didn't say nothing, just keeping it smooth. And then it's Juke and Lou, they're laughing and whatever. Then it goes back to Rock walking into the shop to get her hair done. And then it's Marvin outside of the church in that mail truck, okay, ready to handle business. You know what I mean? And at the end of it, long story short, he handled business. And he got up out of there, so they driving up. He did find himself a lookout, a driver. So that's that. And that was episode 2, short and sweet. I know. I don't know. It wasn't too much of a, I don't know. Like I said, anyway, that is all for now. Okay, guys? I know. I'm just tired right now, guys. Like, I'm sleepy. I know. I need to get another hour or 2 maybe of sleep real quick. Anyway, thank you all for listening. All right. And I hope you all are doing well. And I will be back later. Have a great day, guys.